What's going on, YouTube? If you don't already know, my name is Josephclukey. I'm in the whole high ticket sales space. I'm here with my guy Jake. We're gonna answer some frequently asked questions that a lot of guys either have that are in the industry or more so looking to get into it. Cool. Let's go ahead and get started, bro. For you, Jake, you've been in the industry for about 10 months now. Why high ticket sales over, a bunch of different other business models out there?
For me or for the average person?
I guess for you, and then lead on to the average person.
All right, so the reason I chose high ticket sales, just for context, so I'm 20 now. Been out of high school for 2 years, but I would say since I was a junior in high school, so 4 years ago, is when I kind of found out about online money. I was watching dudes like Hamza. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Obviously, Iman Gadzhi, Jordan Welch, all those guys. So I was inspired by a couple of them. Scott Hilsey is actually the first person I actually watched and that went through with. He was doing organic one product drop shipping. So started with drop shipping, looked into SMMA, but I was too pussy to start it. Was watching Hamza, wanted to do personal brand fitness stuff. So I tried a bunch of different business models, really didn't work out. And then I don't want to say gave up, but I was like, bro, I gotta stop watching self-improvement content. I just gotta fucking chill. So I basically went back to being a normie. And then I started reading books. The first book, I think it's actually behind us, or no, the camera's actually on top of it, but it's called The Millionaire Fastlane. He remembers because I think I made him read it too. I was like, fuck, I gotta figure out how to make money. I gotta make it quick. And so I just started looking at people I look up to. The main thing that I found in common between most successful people was that they started in sales or they had some sort of sales skills. So kind of just reverse engineered it, connected the dots, eventually was like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to get into sales. Didn't start in high ticket sales, started in a shitty industry called timeshare. If you're from the US and you're in a major city that attracts tourists, you probably know what that is. Basically a scam. I hated that shit, quit in 4 months, went back to working at a restaurant as a server, was still in college. Eventually came across a dude named Pierre Corey. He was making videos about his agency, growth operating, stuff like that. Then I found out that the easiest way to get into that was high ticket sales, so started as an appointment setter and made my way up the ladder. That didn't answer your question at all. But the reason I chose high ticket sales is because it's the lowest barrier to entry. The one skill that you need to know is sales, so you can just focus all your time and effort on learning sales rather than learning how to market. Learning marketing, learning paid ads, learning product research, learning copywriting, all these different skills versus just honing in on one thing, which is learning how to sell, learning how to talk to people. So that's why I chose it, and it's personally why I would recommend it to, your average person looking to make money online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I guess for you, if you had a fifth grader in front of you,
yeah,
and you had to explain high ticket sales in 25 seconds, how would you explain it to somebody that's either new to it or just been looking at it for a bit?
Okay. So imagine you walk into a gym and you see this guy online. He has a big personal brand, he makes gym content, and you want to go get training from him. He obviously doesn't have the time to talk to every single person who wants training, make sure they're qualified, actually sell them on why he should be their coach. So basically what he would do is hire people below him, an appointment setter, to talk to all the leads. They would book them in with a closer who would actually take them through a full process and then either close them or not close them and then onboard them into his program because he doesn't have the time to. Imagine that with fitness, but change it to make money online. That's the most generic. That's how I explained it to my grandma, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense, bro. Obviously it doesn't sound super hard, from the perspective you just said,
yeah.
But what do you feel is the biggest misconception when it comes to high ticket sales?
Yeah, gurus definitely fuck it up for sure. If I'm being honest, without stroking my own ego, I had the guru come up story that they tell you is always gonna happen. It did work for me. It did happen for me, but it doesn't happen for most people. I would say the biggest misconception is that the second you get on a roll, you're gonna make 5 to 10K a month as an appointment setter, 10 to 20K a month as a closer. Bro, I know people, not even throwing shade, but I know a lot of people who claim to make 20K a month as closers, as setters, and they just don't. It's just not the case. It's rare. And so the biggest misconception would be OTE. If you don't know what OTE means, it's just on target earnings, which it is possible. It's just typically it's not going to be your first offer. It's just not going to happen because offer is everything. If you're not on a good offer, you can't make that kind of money. So I would say the biggest misconception is like instant OTE. I saw a case study about somebody who made 20K in their first month, bro. It's just not true. It's not how it works.
For sure. But I guess, bro, you've been pretty successful when it comes to the whole high ticket sales space.
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel like, bro? Because obviously there's a ton of dudes that join the industry, a ton of dudes that, invest into a mentor to be able to get the tools, but don't end up making it. Like, what do you feel like you did that the other 99% of other people getting into the space didn't do?
Well, so obviously I invested into a mentorship to first get into the space. I invested in one mentorship that didn't work, and I invested in the second mentorship that kind of got me to where I am today. What was the question?
Yeah, like what set you apart from the people
what set me apart?
Didn't do well?
I would say like connections for sure. I knew exactly who I wanted to work with before I started working with them. And so the second that they dropped a mentorship, they literally dropped a mentorship called appointmentsetter.com, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, and I knew who I wanted to do it for, so I pulled the trigger. By the way, I barely had any money when I invested into that. I just used what I had left to join. And so I would say connections more than anything, because like I knew what team I wanted to be a part of, I knew the culture that I wanted to be around, and I knew that they had the opportunity for me to actually make money. So I would say connections, but then at the same time, there's also people that did the same thing as me, and it didn't work out for them.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I would say it's also like people skills and like social skills. Like the moment I met the guy who like hired me, I already felt like I was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna be good, just because of like just being able to connect with people on a more personal level, be chill. I don't like using the word aura because it's kind of cringy, but you do have to have some sort of just like if I'm interviewing somebody, for example, I can usually tell within the first 30 seconds whether or not I think they're going to be a good fit regardless of the experience they have. Yeah. So I would say the main thing would be like getting connected with the right people for sure.
For sure. I know you mentioned getting connected with the right people. I guess it varies from business model to business model, but like for high ticket sales specifically, do you think it is mandatory to get a mentor to get into the space?
Mandatory, no. Would I recommend it? Yeah.
Why would you recommend it?
Because I hate to sound like a fucking guru, but it's like you have sales. The biggest thing in sales is congruency. It's like, for example, you don't see any closers on your For You page or your reels who are fat, because a fat closer telling somebody they need to make a change doesn't make sense, right? It's not congruent. So the biggest thing is congruency, right? If you're going to tell people to make uncomfortable decisions, that they have to invest into themselves because it's going to help them get to where they want to go quicker, but you're not doing the exact same thing, there's not going to be any conviction because you don't actually believe. Like for me, for example, obviously you want to make sure somebody's selling a good product, but I truly believe that mentorships work because it did work for me. So that's how you have conviction, like as a sales rep.
Yeah.
So not necessary, or not mandatory, but definitely like you should, in my opinion.
Yeah. For sure. Obviously, there's probably some people sitting behind the camera that don't really know if like high ticket sales is their industry.
Yeah.
What they should get into, because bro, there's hundreds of business models.
Yeah.
Like for people that might have this question, do you think high ticket sales will be a thing for the rest of your lifetime, like for the next 100 years?
100 years? There's always, bro, every single business ever of all time that you could possibly think of relies on some sort of sales. So the word high ticket sales is literally just a made up, phrase. High ticket sales just means you're a sales rep for expensive things. So there's always going to be some sort of high ticket sales. There's people that would consider what we do not high ticket sales because, $5K seems like a big investment, but there's sales reps that sell $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 packages to where it makes us seem like small. It seems like low ticket sales, I guess you could say. But like, I definitely think high ticket sales will be around in the info product / mentorship space for the next 100 years. I don't know. I don't think so, but I do think it's a growing industry. Just because more and more education is going online, the internet's only growing, college is only dying. So, on next 100 years, I don't know. Next 20 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Obviously, bro, there's a bunch of people that want to more so like look into getting into a course, but they have the fear. It's usually the number one objection. Everything comes down to fear. Yeah. But for you, do you think mentorships, do you get what you put in, or do you think there are some that are good, some that are bad. What's kind of your take on, like, obviously you sell this, bro, so it's like...
Sounds like we're doing a case study, bro. You're trying to get me to pre-handle them. Guys, we don't have any course yet. Yeah. What was the question?
Do you think, like, mentorships are worth it, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's all based on you, bro. I was actually listening to the John Mao podcast that just came out, and with Squid Pactor, so go watch that if you guys haven't. But the biggest thing about mentorship is not the information that you get, because the thing is that the information actually is out there. I don't like when people say that, but it's true. You can find all the information that you need. What it helps with is the implementation, but even more than just the implementation that it helps with, it's you committing to yourself. It's hard to say that you're committed. The best like commitment, or the biggest commitment you can make, is a financial commitment. Yeah. So when you put a couple $1,000s into something, that's you really telling yourself that you're gonna figure this out, and you're actually gonna put your first foot forward. Yeah. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I would say about it.
Just like locking down something.
Yeah, it's just actually committing to it.
Yeah.
You know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, bro, at the end of the day, like Jake said, you have to live in congruency. Like, who are you to tell somebody to buy a mentorship, but yet you don't even do the same, right? It's like it's like the overweight person trying to teach somebody on how to lose weight.
Facts.
So it's just like, you definitely have to live in congruency with what you're selling. Yeah. Can you take the same risk? Can you get over your own self-doubt and your own beliefs that you have currently? Yeah. I guess that kind of leads to my next question. Like, bro, like, for anyone that's either like looking to get into the high ticket sales, maybe they're looking at day trading, drop shipping, what do you think like would be a good avatar for somebody that would be a good fit for high ticket sales? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I'd say like the advantage to it, one would be that you can make money instantly. Obviously not your first day, but as soon as you get onto an offer, you can start selling. But the avatar for that would be like, I mean, I think number one most successful trait, or like most commonality, is typically like ex-athletes for sure. I used to play basketball, football in high school. He used to play football, college football. My mentors all played sports. Everybody that I've ever really seen success started as an athlete. The reason why is because it's all about the work ethic more than anything, right? Yeah. Like the teammates who showed up early, stayed late, are the ones who, you know, had the most success typically in the games. Same thing in high ticket sales. If you're the one dialing first and dialing last in the day, you're gonna make more money. You're gonna get more sets on the board. You're gonna get more closes than the person only doing half that. So I'd say the number one thing is like work ethic, for sure. And that's gonna be a thing for like any online business. You obviously have to have work ethic, yeah. But I would say like work ethic and like drive to like really become the best at something. Like I'm gonna figure out. Like, when I was setting, my focus wasn't on how I can become a closer. It was how can I be the best appointment setter possible and make the most money as an appointment setter. Eventually, somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, you're going to start closing soon. That's when I started to focus on closing. So it's like focusing on the task at hand, and then work ethic and long hours more than anything, for sure. But yeah, if you're like if you're the type of person that tries something for a month and then quits after a month when it doesn't work, probably shouldn't get into it. And that goes for any business model, though, if I'm being honest. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I guess for you, like, do you feel like I missed any kind of common questions that...
Nah. Why do you think high ticket sales didn't work for you in the start?
So one of the things that me and probably a bunch of people fall victim to is, Jake actually told me this, is that you can't chase two rabbits at once, bro. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're searching and trying a bunch of different things at once, whether it was like coding, school, also working 25, 30 hours a week, and also trying to manage the high ticket sales, bro, it is impossible. You will never be able to perfect any of those crafts if you're constantly chasing a bunch of rabbits at once, like the analogy you said. Yeah. So at first, I realized, I mean, I had a lot on my plate. I was wondering, questioning why it wasn't working out. And then kind of like slowed down on it for a bit. And I had a conversation with this guy. I mean, he has no idea that it kind of changed my perspective. I'm like kind of explaining the situation. Yeah, if I were to commit to this, my life would change in 6 months. And he had no idea that. He was like, why don't you just do it? And I was like sitting there kind of just pulling out every excuse I could. And then I realized on my drive home, I was like, he's right. So like that next week, I quit my job. I went all in. My first week back in, I didn't make a single dollar. I made over 1,000 calls. Just considering going back to my 9-to-5 job, and then now after taking that leap of faith, not only have I made more money than I've ever made in my whole life, I've also been able to have the tools and the resources to kind of level up, if that makes sense.
Bro, in my opinion, it's like, you always, the one thing that you'll always hear in a sales call is like, what's more risky? Is it more risky to take action or not? Bro, the thing that a lot of people don't realize about like taking action, and it's also like once you do it once, you'll always be able to do it. Like, I know now, like, even if I decided to pivot and get into another industry, that I would immediately be able to take action and be on the right trajectory. The hardest part is like actually doing something, but it goes for everything, especially with high ticket sales though. You have to ask yourself like what is the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
You work for a month, you save up a couple $1,000s, you spend money to learn a skill. You know, a month later you start selling, and 3 months after that it doesn't work out. You're
alive,
right
yeah.
where the fuck you were. Yeah. You're still living at home. You still have no bitches. You have under 1,000 followers on IG, and you can go back to working your job, bro. Like it's not that big of it's really not that big of a risk, but that comes like with like expanding your time horizon. Like you got to be like, bro, like you have time. You just have to take action, and time will slow down. What did your parents think about when you wanted to get into it?
So they were super skeptical at first. Actually, like a week ago, so I ended up like investing into a mentorship. I spent $2,500. Super skeptical. Talked to my parents about it, and they were like, you know, obviously, we want the best for you. We don't know if this is, you know, legit. Blah blah blah. I ended up like taking like 2 weeks, and then I realized that it was the only decision I could make if I really wanted to get to that next level. And it was actually like a week ago after I started making good money, after I started, you know, having a consistent income and becoming better at it. I told them, I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, by the way, I invested into myself, my skill set, and it was the best decision I could have made.
Oh, shit, you didn't tell him?
I never told him until like a week ago.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that, bro.
Yeah.
I thought you told him and then you bought.
Yeah, no.
Damn, you didn't tell him at all?
No.
Bro, I didn't tell my parents until... I remember I was in the kitchen and my parents were like, yeah, like, how'd you get into this? And at the start, I'd be like, yeah, just connections. Like, I just had connections on Instagram. And then eventually I was like, they were like, how did you get into this? I was like, nah, I spent like $2,000.
Yeah.
Like, what? And I just explained it. But that was after I made like my first, I think like 10K or some shit. But
Facts.
Or no, it was after that first launch. But yeah, no, it's crazy. But what were you saying? No,
yeah, literally, it was just, it's funny that, because obviously I'm super tight with them, so I wouldn't want to lie, but I just never really shot them straight. But like literally, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Not because I've made $1 million and I've been able to retire my parents, but it's been able to open my eyes to a lot of different things and ways to make money out there.
Not facts. It's like all a perspective shift, and then you realize that spending that kind of money is not actually that scary. Yeah, like it's not. It's really not as crazy as you think, bro. Like after, so I had like a little bit over $1,500, like $1,600, maybe a couple hundred in a different account. And I spent $1,500, and that was a split pay. So it was $1,500 then, $1,500 in 30 days. Then I dropped it. I was like, all right, fuck it, like here we go, and bro, then like 2 months later, I spent another $7,000 on more coaching for closing. I don't even think I had made more than $7,000, but I had spent it on like trips, fucking shoot, like, you know, just whatever. I just crashed out when I first started making money. So I think I spent like $7K and I put it all on like fucking MX, bro.
Facts.
And but yeah, it gets less scary, and you just realize that it always figures itself out. Yeah. If you just focus on making more money, obviously to an extent, you don't want to be a dumbass, but. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, like you mentioned, bro, like if you knew you couldn't fail, like would you do it? Yeah. That literally has to be the mindset, because if you feel like what you're investing into can actually take you to that next step, it's really just you are the only thing that's holding you back at the end of the day. Yeah, like what closers say in objection handling is very real, like in real life. And that's where the congruency thing comes in. It's like,
if everybody knew they wouldn't fail if they did what they wanted to do, they would just do it.
Yeah.
But the question you have to ask yourself is, how would you ever know if you don't try?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to leave it off.
Yeah.
Anything else?
For sure. I mean, obviously we just kind of talked about a bunch of different common questions. Obviously, if you guys have any other questions, you can leave them like in the comments. I'll reply because we can't tap on everything. I mean, do you have any last words or?
Yeah, if you guys want to get into high ticket sales, we do have a free coaching link. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, I think that's it, bro.
Nah, but yeah, pretty much it. I'll leave my Instagram, my TikTok in the description. I'll leave his too. If you guys ever have any questions, just DM us online or just leave a comment. We'll just go ahead and reply because obviously we can't answer all the questions, right?
Bro, there's not going to be that many people on this shit.
Fuck you, bro.
All right.
100,000 views. All right, boys.
All right.